FCPSOn has been an incredible journey for me and my staff and actually the whole school community, because it's given us the opportunity to use 21st century skills in the best way possible.
FCPSOn has definitely changed how I think about my instruction. A lot of kids struggle with different skills, like cutting and gluing can be really difficult for some kids. And although I don't want to get rid of cutting and gluing, it's making me rethink. Does this activity really have to be cutting and gluing, or could they manipulate it on an iPad?
I think when people first hear everybody gets a device, they're thinking that they're going to be playing games all day and it's going to be busy work. It's given some assignments more of a meaningful purpose. It's allowed for more collaboration even in the first grade level.
The difference between only 75% of my students having access to a computer at home to 100% of my students having a computer at home has been huge, because now the students can go home and they can do things on the computer that makes them more comfortable. When they come into the classroom and I ask them to sign on, they can open that computer, sign on, and before I can even start telling what my instructions are, they're ready to go.
We have equitable access. When we can provide technology to everyone, we've leveled the playing field, so there's no one that has, it's not the have and have-nots, it's available to everyone.
FCPSOn is definitely not about the devices, it's about the way they're using their devices. And so, when we talk about them getting on Mayan and reading a story, they're not just sitting there passively listening to the story, but there's a lot of follow-through. So we'll meet and we'll talk about the beginning, middle, and end of the story. We'll have them do a follow-through activity where they retell their favorite piece. So we're really incorporating the technology in what we're doing.
I have seen an impact in my students' learning throughout the year, especially with writing. The students have an ability to go into their document again and again and edit it and change it and add things. That was so hard to do with paper pencil.
I see FCPSOn as an instructional initiative. You can't deny the technology piece of it. It's definitely a technology initiative also. But at the core of it, it's really impacted my instruction and how I deliver instruction and how my students take that instruction and go with it.
So you're going to define urbanization.
FCPSOn is really about changing teaching and learning to prepare students for the future. At the high school level, every student is assigned a personal device, or a laptop in this case, and they take it to and from school and home. We've worked a lot with our staff to talk about why we need to change education. Education has pretty much been the same in the last century with the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. And we're really looking at a different economy, a different workforce, and a different society, and we need to ensure that we're preparing our students for the future.
So the one-to-one is your personal laptop, whereas the cards where they're just shared laptops, you don't get to take it home. And the great thing about taking it home is that you're able to access Google Classroom, which is basically a place where teachers can share their assignments.
So I run track, and on the days that I miss for track meets or for what I do, I definitely can either work on assignments at the meet as well. I can work on them through Google Classroom again. I can catch up without having to meet up with a teacher. If I have questions, I can look at the assignment ahead of time and then follow up with my teacher. I can just pretty much do them without even getting lost or behind.
So these devices are inexpensive and they do the work. They allow us to access the Google Suite for Education applications. They allow us to access a lot of the software that our classes have been using for years. They are not fancy devices, they are workhorses. They get the job done and they meet our students' needs.
Yeah, it's definitely valuable. It makes the class run smoother. Easier to turn in assignments, easier to make up assignments, easier for teachers to grade them, and it stretches much further than just here's a textbook, here's a worksheet. There's interactive worksheets online, there's videos you can watch, there's articles you can read, and it's more current than the textbooks that they release or the books that we would be reading in class otherwise.
When you use your laptops, you get directly what the teacher wants and you get exactly what they say, so it's just better communication between the student and the teacher.
I've been in education 28 years, and I believe FCPSOn, this initiative, has probably been the most transformational initiative I've seen in education to move education to the place it needs to be in order to prepare our kids for the workforce.
FCPSOn has definitely lent itself very well to the portrait of the graduate, and just from what I've seen in the upper grades, how they're taking these kindergarten skills and they're applying them in first grade, and the things that they're doing in the first and second grade, I don't think we could have even imagined in the last couple of years, but it all starts here in kindergarten with them learning to log on.
Everyone can do this. Everyone can do FCPSOn. Everyone can be one-to-one. I can't picture my classroom now not being one-to-one.
That we're in a technology revolution and we have to be able to catch up and be able to learn and adapt to these new things.
We can't continue to do what we've been doing in education for a century. Our kids are at different places. You know, we really need to work on our digital literacy as teachers, the digital literacy of our children, how to create good digital citizens, because that's the world they're exposed to.
If I had to go back, I could not go back. I mean, when I first started, we started with smart boards, and I remember thinking, you know, I could never go back to whiteboards. That just seems crazy. And now I find that I'm even further beyond that.
But in basically all my classes, I'm using a laptop at some point or another because, like I said, teachers are actively trying to incorporate it into their lessons because we are in 2017 now, and we did the one-to-one program for a reason, and that's to improve our education.